Why hello, and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Rings, and this is a Lord of the Rings RiseToWar Legacy. And today, I want to tell you about the state of where I'm at in my end of my season here, and also kind of the state of the game a little bit, alright, on things and what I think about stuff. I got 7 days left. We did pretty good on our thing, okay, so I'll give you a quick little update here. Again, thank you for liking, subscribing, appreciate all that stuff, you guys. I'm going to be trying to bring you guys a little bit more RiseToWar for my fans out there. Subscribe for RiseToWar. We're going to have a lot more this next season. I'm getting regional lore this season. We had some fun stuff. It was a pretty awesome battle. Yeah, it's been pretty cool. How close am I to this thing, actually? Oh gosh, I'm off by like 1. I need to just do like a little bit of fighting. Look at that. I'm so close. I've just been so busy. I have not been able to get on the last 2 weeks, but we kind of already won everything, so I kind of just I can't really like catch up to do anything. Everybody's so far ahead. So that's one thing I've noticed, okay? So one thing in the game. So here's where we're at. Here's the battles. As you can see, it's pretty much become I had a conversation with my one friend Jethros. You all know Jethros if you're my RiseToWar fans. My brother-in-law, we played the game together. He is in the season with me. One thing we were saying is it's so hard when it comes to the politics of this game. So for example, okay, this team over here, they are awesome, the two teams. It's Bank and the other group is Det, okay? The two fellowships. And they've been totally awesome. And they are very, very strong. So the amount of strength levels that I would, if I'd rate it from at the beginning of the seasons, before people kind of give up, I'm not saying anyone gave up in the blue team. That's not what I'm saying. Just hold on to that thought for a second. If I rated everybody before, because a lot of people, something happens, they can't keep playing for the season, or, people are like, oh, I'm kind of done. This has been crazy, holding this spell this whole time, that kind of thing. That's happened to me with my teams in the past. That did not happen to our team this season, or anybody, mind you. I would say it's probably the strongest group is Axed, all right, followed closely behind by, I believe Bank. If I look at you can actually look at the rating leadership things for the fellowships. I'm pretty sure it was Axed and Dobe are both very powerful fellowships. Yes, and Det is the one that is really powerful, and so was Bank. We were all pretty strong, and then we were very strong, but our secondary group has a lot less people in it now, which as you can see here, where's our, it should be right here. There it is, right here. But we, yeah, so we actually were lacking a lot of people this season, but with everything that happened and stuff, the blue teams were very, very, very strong and very impressive. In fact, also honors to all of them. They were amazing. And it was a really fun season because everyone was really respectful and nice. And, lo and behold, also, shout out to All Things Middle-earth. He's awesome. I like his channel. So is Jethros. We like his channel. It's awesome. He also does RiseToWar content. Just shout out there. I don't know if I'm sure if you guys are watching this, you probably know about his channel. He did a lot of RiseToWar stuff. Of course, my channel is like kind of everything Lord of the Rings. Not, I don't just do RiseToWar, even though I love this game. That's why I do it. But obviously I do a lot of LOTR and other content as well on the channel. So, maybe I can, if he ever wants to come play some LOTR. I heard that he did a LOTR recently. It'd be fun. But anyway, for the future. But this is really, really cool. And it was a really, really good season. But again, I would probably say Axed was one of the strongest fellowships, as in they had a lot of whale players that are really, really powerful. I'd say close second is probably Dobe and Det, the same boat, and then right after. That's kind of how I'd rate it. Now, again, I'm not talking down about my fellowship. Again, you can see we're ranking 1 here in power production. So we are very strong. But what kind of happened this season was our secondary fellowship, we only had about like a quarter to half that were really playing in this, which is going to be probably, I don't know what the plans are for that. I can't say that because I don't know what's going on for next season. But I know we're consolidating to have more of just active, no secondary accounts. Because a lot of times people will bring an alt account. I had an alt account in our thing this season. I actually have it in our second group right now. But we're going to try to have only active single accounts in our fellowship, that kind of thing. But it's been really fun. Our leadership is really, really awesome. They play around, but they are really good with the politics and really polite and respectful to the other groups. So anyway, one of the things I wanted to talk about was, and again, this is where like the politic things comes in. So we kind of had a type of war game, okay? So basically, we were kind of allied with, and blue team had, well, Dune was up here, another fellowship, and they were it was kind of a 2v2. We were all battling, but by the end, I don't know, someone made a comment that I don't know this. You tell me, guys, if you're watching, if you're from Bank or Debt, let me know what happened. Was it just because they attacked from the back that something happened? But it seemed like we were held off. We had a battle, okay? We were battling them at this crossing, and they held us off for like 5 weeks. And they held off Dwarven Axe here and here. We were battling at these literally for like 5 weeks of real time, okay? So that was very impressive. So they were very strong group. But then something happened. I guess some people took a break or got just kind of tired of the, that happens. I've had that happen where my whole fellowship just, a bunch of them left. I don't think that's what happened with the blue team, but I'm saying I personally had that experience in the past. And it's kind of hard when that happens. You're like, oh, no, don't give up now, that kind of thing. But basically, we had, I mean, it might have been Dune, too, that was the ones that gave up. But I don't think so. They have some really good players, too. But they weren't nearly as large as these other 5 or 6 fellowships. But Dune was right up there. They were like 7th or 8th on the server. Lots of great fellowships. We actually at one point had like 8 kingdoms on the map. That was pretty cool. I mean, that was a pretty cool start to a season. That was awesome. So anyway, now to say what the state of something is that I wanted to talk about, and I want to talk about this respectfully. So again, let me just clarify that everyone on the server has been fantastic. No one has done anything wrong that I've heard about or anyone's been upset about. And again, it's a game. There's really not wrong things to do. But for an example of a wrong thing, many seasons ago, my fellowship were asking to have kind of a truce because there was really no bonus for them to come take our capital. It was one of the other game modes from a long time ago. And we basically said, hey, can we keep our capital because it doesn't give you an extra bonuses like this one. In this game mode, technically it does, so I could understand it if people want every little sting they can earn. But we were really like totally nice and stuff in group, and this is with my friends you're watching from Fire. Well, this other group, definitely the worst fellowship I've ever played. This is many seasons ago, right? They just ran over us, and we were like, why did you guys? Because they were the strongest group on the server, and they're like, oh well, there's 3 people that were on your faction that we didn't like from last season, so we wanted to punish them. So they punished like 200 players that were like in our faction to get back at 3 guys from the previous season who were just annoying to them or something. So it's like, I couldn't even believe that's a bad thing to do, okay, in the game. Now again, of course, they have a pretty bad, that group had a bad rap. I don't know if they're still together. I don't know where they are at this point. Doesn't matter. But the point is, though, it is important in this game to kind of like, you're probably going to fight the same players and opponents later. Like, not always, but in next things, right? There's new people that come in too as well, but large groups, the fellowships, are like play as teams, right, as you play the game. So one thing that is kind of hard was we did this war game, which was very fun, but it was basically who gets to keep the ring, right? And it was really early in before the season's ending here. And then once they did beat us, and we kind of assumed that Axe and Doe were going to beat us because they had more players in general and they have very strong groups. We were very strong too. We did pretty good. We held it. We had to hold a fort for like an hour and 30 minutes, and we held it for like 55 minutes. So we did a really good job. We almost did it. We just had to build whoever built the fort next to it first won kind of thing, and we started right before theirs, so they had to beat us to be able to do it. But one thing that does happen with that is, since we made kind of like a rule to kind of be, friendly with our allies that were the whole season, and again, but it makes it kind of hard for, I'm gonna just, they bank and loan. And this is what Jethros is pointing out to me. We were talking about, because like, if we started fighting each other, right, to fight for the ring, it would give them a chance to kind of come back into the fight, right? And not have like 2 big groups against them still, even though it's not like we're picking on them, because they were a very powerful faction. They own this entire right side of the map, okay? Where Dwarven Axe were down here, owning just this under part, and they owned all of this, right? And then at the very top was Dune, which is what we took. That's why we have this up here now. So the point is, no pity parties for anyone, obviously, right? No one's thinking that on any of the teams, I'm sure. But my point is, it kind of makes it hard because we don't want to portray Dobe and Axed, right? To like attack them and take the ring from them, like at the end. But it would be fun if we like, can we make another battle? Can we agree? Can we vote on it, right? Can all the allied fellowships vote? Should we fight again for the ring, right? Like as one big vote, right? You know what I'm saying? That'd be kind of like cool. That was a Jethros idea. Just to kind of give another, chance to have another big battle, PvP, that kind of thing. And, maybe give even this team a chance to come in and take one or two and come join us for that last battle or something. I don't know. It just, that's kind of hard to do. But again, it comes hard with the political part because if we just, let's say, backstab our allies that we've been with all season and we've been working together with for this season. Now, again, we might have been opponents with them in previous seasons. I don't remember. I don't know that at this point because, I've only been with my fellowship now for 2 seasons, or this is the third or second. I can't remember. Maybe it's the third. But the point is, though, if we did that, then they would never trust us again, right? Like, I wouldn't either if I was them, right? If we had taken Dumbledore, and at the very end, when we're all up here, like, battling another group, just kind of thinking the season's over, they backstabbed us and took Dumbledore. That would be really, like, we would never trust them ever again in any other season, right? That group of people. So you can't really do that, right? But then the point is, what Jethro's saying is it's kind of hard because then it's kind of like, well, I guess the server's just done, right? It's like, well, I guess that's it, right? Because like it'd be really, really hard for Bank and them to break back through to take the ring in a week, right? It's just not really plausible, right? And that kind of stuff. So that's kind of hard when it comes to politics. So when it comes to the state of the game, that's something that it's kind of like a fun part of the game, but not like, and also a negative for me personally. I love the combat in the game. There's been some really cool updates. So anyway, I hope that I verbalize that correctly. The point is, though, it's not that I'm like any one person did anything wrong. No one's done anything wrong. I'm just saying hypothetically, right? And so is Jethros. We were talking about it. Hypothetically, like our group, we would love another shot at getting the ring, right? But again, we're totally respectful. We're not going to do that, right? They won fair and square in our little battle royale we did. And again, for Bank and Debt, I'm sure they would also love it. So like, what if in another reality, at a certain point we allied with Bank and Debt? Now that they're smaller in area and we start pushing into them and they start pushing into us and now they have to fight on 2 fronts. Like, is there a game mode they can make? Now, again, that would be traitorous to Axe and Dobe. We would never do that, right? And vice versa. If we had started the season allied with Bank and Debt, we probably would have done a very similar thing and, like, doing a little war game for the ring if we had pushed them all the way back. And then we wouldn't have backstabbed them and attacked them. It's the same thing. And vice versa. I'm sure Bank and Deb and Dobe and Axed would not do that to us, me, either, if we had won the ring. Right? Or we were allied with either of them. That would be very unusual, right? Because again, it's like, it's just a game, so who cares that much to get the ring, right? But we still all want to win. It's a war game, right? So it's like, it's this like counterintuitive fighting thing going on with the logic there, right? So my point is, it's like, I wish they could find some way to balance it where like you ally with groups, like you an ally, but at a certain point when you get too powerful, it unallies you and then makes some kind of debuff if you're like not fighting someone. That could get kind of annoying though too, but it could be a fun testing game mode. They made a separate game mode to test this. I will say right now, I am very happy with the state of how things work in the game. Okay. I do love how you can fly to stuff. I feel like the flying mounts are a little strong. Like I feel like right now Eagles and Fell Beasts are like the unit to use for PvP. It feels a little bit too strong to me, right? It just feels a little too strong, but it is a cool, logical thing. Now, something that bothers me, and Jethros and me were talking about this too, was, I got a nice little bow there. Is the fact that the blocking, right? So your characters have to actually walk and cross crossings. And if they can't get up there because something's taken or blocked, they're not going to be able to go all the way up there, right? Until you take that crossing. it's cool and logical, and I really like that when it was just the passes. Okay, so these passes and choke points they added pre the movement update. They did a massive movement update after, and this is after the massive 2.0 update, mind you. 2.0 did an update, and then they did the massive movement update as well recently. And it's like, which is that it's the Kings of Men new tactics evolved, whatever this named is. This campaign is named. I could look it up right now here, but yeah, that's kind of like crazy too, right? Let's see. Here it is. Let's see. Does it tell me the full what we're doing? I don't. Let's see. Kings of Men. I mean, this is what we're doing. Battlefield Evolution. Brand new marching gameplay on the map. Great. This is the, yeah, Battle Evolution is what it's called. So that's what they added to the Kings of Men, Rings of Power game mode. It's good. I like it. But I could use some fine tuning. And also, can I just say, with one ability, where is it? Disability upkeep. Why is it even there? Just get rid of it. Just make it not a... I'm telling you, devs, okay? All right, this is just a kindly comment, okay? You either make this 25%, it's still not going to be that great, or just remove this. So when you roll in that chest, there's not a chance to get this. Because honestly, this just ruins... Like, you're never going to use this on a build. You might use the item to refine, right? But it's just so frustrating when you get this, and you get a good item, you're like... Right? If you get like an Axe of Cause of Doom, you're like, yeah, and then it's got this on it. Oh my gosh. Right? In fact, I think, actually speaking of, since I mentioned All Things Middle Earth, his channel, I was watching a opening video. I think Jethros showed me, and I felt for him so much. He got an Axe of Cause of Doom. That's awesome. And then he got upkeep on it. I was like, oh. I was just like, I felt so bad for him. I'm like, and he was just like, oh, in the video. I was like, yeah. But again, at least he can use it to refine another Axe of Cause of Doom. True. But I really think, devs, I really think you should just remove that. Also, I feel like the siege bonus, is this, have you guys tested this a lot? I've tested a little bit. I feel like it does help. But I don't know. I maybe buff this a little bit too, since you got rid of a lot of the other siege, you know, when we had to re-update our items kind of thing. But really this one, it's that upkeep, it's just useless. Everything else I see used, right? Everything else I see used in different builds. You know, mites, you know, I've seen them all pretty much used. I rarely see this used by any high level players, as in like very like high respect Zenith characters. I almost never see this. I don't see it on any of the healing characters, because again, the healing characters are super underpowered right now. So again, in state of the game, I know I've ranted on this a little bit in the past, but the characters need to be better for healing. If a single commander can deal out with really good gear, let's just say average purple gear, right? A Gimli or a Dane, right? If you have average purple gear, they can deal out 70, 80. You have some good gold gear, 1,000, right? We're talking, you know, my Gimli can do like 100 and like, you know, 110,000 by himself without his troops. Okay. I've already seen that this season. So if warrior melee classes can do that kind of damage, I really think, and I've seen some focused ones that can do 70, 80,000. I really think healing should be at least half that. Okay. Maybe not the full amount, because that would kind of be like it's too strong. You can never kill someone on a tile if they're healing for as much damage as you're dealing. But if you have a healing squad set up in defensive spot to hold a tile, wouldn't it feel good if you got hit by 200,000 damage and you healed 90,000 of it? So you'd only lost a third of your armor instead of over half, right? And you can hold that tile for 2 more hits or something. That would be really cool. And that's something, to me, as in state of the game, healers are just bad. And I think everyone kind of agrees on that. Again, I don't watch other content creators. I don't watch every single one of their videos. So I don't know the details on what everyone else thinks about that. But me as a player and all the people I talk to all the time on my Discord, which if you ever want to join our Discord, it's voiceoftherings.com. You can find the link in the social media tab there. or my newest live stream will have a link. But that's good for a week. Yeah, so like again, Gandalf the Grey is still a very good commander. Like White Council is still a great ability, all that kind of stuff. But Radagast, Arwen, who used to be an excellent healer before the 2.0 update, healing. My friend Jethros has tried so many builds to make it good with this ability, and she just can't heal like nothing. It's so minuscule. It's like she'll heal like 20 or 30,000, if that, right? I know my Awen, if you do her healing build, she can hit like 9,000 healing. That's good, I guess. But think about it, against 100,000 damage, you're not even healing 10% of the that's crazy. You have good healing gear. Same thing with Radagast. His healing's fine, but it's not on the level of being good, where it's like viable. Like I feel like what the devs are trying to always do, and they usually do a pretty good job at this. Just want to compliment you now, devs, if you're listening. You guys are pretty good at finding something and like trying to like balance it. But I really feel like healers need to be balanced. I also feel like there's some focus commanders that do really good focus damage and some that don't. I was really, really disappointed that they decided to remove, and I know you've already heard me rant about it on this channel, the allied combination with the Arid Leader. How it stacked and worked, and if you use that with, if you used Denethor and Imrahil with Theoden, Theoden and Eomer, their leader, you could heal like 40, 45. I saw at one point I did 50, 55,000 healing. Again, my team was based on that setup. So they were dealing out pretty decent damage, but not a ton because I was focusing on their damage. But I will say what made it really strong was because Arid Leader also buffs your unit's damage. But Ally doesn't, right? Ally doesn't, but Arid Leader does give you extra damage. So it was a strong combo. But if you looked at the numbers, they never dealt the damage that damage dealer commanders did, even with their troops. And I had really good gear on all of them. And their healing was fine. And they were really good at taking tiles. They were really good at holding a line. They'd hit 1 or 2 hits, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, they're like, oh, it's overpowered. We're going to nerf it. It's like, no. What they should have done was they should have brought up other healers to be at that same level. Okay? That's what should have happened. All right? So, and that's coming from someone who's played the game every single season since the game came out. I've seen all the changes. I know the game really well. Obviously, I make guide videos about this game. I really think they should have done that. So that's my feeling on that. Again, I understand the nerf to an extent because of logical. They're like, okay, well, they don't want those healers to be so crazy compared to like Radagast and stuff. But again, Radagast and them are all super underpowered. No one uses them. I haven't seen any whales or any of the higher level, mid-level players even touching those characters, right? And those are the people that would have Radagast because he's a legendary tier 3 commander. You really can only get him once you put a lot of work in, or you got lucky and you got to pull early, right? If you're maybe a new free-to-play player, you just got him. But even then, he only has his base stuff. He can only get to level 30. That's another thing I want to talk about, okay? Now let's just move into one other thing. I don't want this rant to go longer than 30 minutes. So it's not really a rant. I feel like I'm breaking this down very nicely. Rant is usually yelling and nonsense. I feel like I'm breaking this down pretty good. But when it comes to respect levels and commanders, if they're respect 0, they can't get past level 30. I don't think that should be the case. I don't like that. Okay, I feel like that's it hurts free-to-play players. So if they pull a gold letter and they're like, cool, I have a gold commander, right? Like Galadriel here. You know, she's respect 0. Well, you literally can't get past level 30, right? And remember, if you're respect 1, then you get to only 40, right? You'll be respect 2 to get to level 50, which is the max level for a commander, while you're playing, right? And this versus respect level versus the level of in-game earning. So that's something that I'm like, I don't like that very much. I know that they reduced how much respect cost it takes to get a commander, so maybe that's why they kind of did that, so you can kind of have them for tips or kind of learn about how to use them before you get them higher. But I kind of feel like just lower the respect to get them and let them be able to get to max level still at 0. Because again, you still want to get them higher respect than 0 because you won't have a lot of skill points, and you also can't get past the tier 1 tree unless you have respect 3 or 5, right? So there's still incentive to get that for people to make money. So I don't like that. So that's one thing. And then another thing that still hasn't been changed since 2.0 update. Again, I know these are a lot of more negative things. There are a lot of things I like. I think I've already pointed them out. I do like the movement systems and tile taking. And at first, I, by the way, didn't like the 5 minutes it took to take an enemy tile. But then once I realized in PvP how important it was, I like that. I think now that I've kind of learned how it works. Because it'd be kind of lame if people could take your tile super fast with how you can just go anywhere now. And of course, you can block people off by taking tiles, which is a really cool system. I really like that a lot. So that's a positive with the state of the game. But another thing is the level up from 40 to 50. You can only level up commanders from 40 to 50 if you do PvP battles. There's several things. I'm going to run through really fast what I think is wrong with this, okay? For one, my main group, if you look at them here, my main group are all level 41. That's it. And I've done a decent amount of combat with these guys. And I get the XP is just huge you have to have. And you just make none. If you slaughter an enemy group, okay, an enemy team, you make like maybe 70,000 experience, right? For each commander. Let me just show you real quick how much XP I need to get from the next one. I need another 700,000. That means I would have to slaughter an enemy team. What is that like? 7, 8, 9 times, something like that, to get them to level just 42. Okay? And now remember, another thing that's important is if you get slaughtered and almost kill none of the enemies, some whale or something you fight, right? Now I'm a pretty strong account, right? I'm a dolphin to whale level account myself from a lot of playing time, and I put some money into the game, obviously, over the last few years. But if that happens and I get slaughtered, I get like no XP. So I lose all my troops. It gives a ton of XP to my opponent who's really strong. It kind of encourages the whale aspect to attack smaller and weaker players. And what I think they should do to fix that problem is even if you lose all your troops, you still get a good chunk of experience. So for example, if let's say I wipe someone out, I get 70,000 experience for my troop. Guys, I still think the enemy should get like 2/3 of that. Even if they lost all their troops and barely killed any of mine. I think they should still get 2/3 of that. Because they had the combat, because they had troops die, all that kind of stuff, they should still get XP for their commanders if they're over 40. Because otherwise it takes way too long. It's too much work to get from 40 to 50. And I play this game a lot, and I'm not willing to play 5, 6, 7 hours a day. You know, I will play an hour or two a day, which is what I usually do. And sometimes I can't play, you know, certain days if I'm too busy. But I always I always get on for a little while to play no matter what, to do my dailies, do a little bit of traveling, that kind of stuff, do a couple battles to help out my fellowship. The leveling thing is hard. So what they could do is, if they don't want to change it like that, what they could do is you could make it a lot less to level up from 40 to 50, right? Or you give a lot more experience for doing a successful win. You give them 150,000 experience for wiping out an enemy team, right? But again, I think the problem is, for me, is the worry is free-to-play versus whale. I have a free-to-play account, my other alt account I've showed you guys on the channel. I like to use it because I like to see how it feels to be like a lot weaker, in that I haven't spent any money on that account really. Spent like $30 on it maybe at most. It's pretty much fully free to play over the last few seasons, and it's a big difference. Like you can play this game for free to play, and it's a fun game. I do recommend the game, trying out, have fun. Maybe it's not your thing, maybe it is. You'll have fun. But if you want to be someone who completely never wants to pay any money into it, besides maybe the dailies or something, or just, you know, you're just being really careful with your money, you just want to play a free game, it's still fun. Find a fellowship to be with, that'll help. Or if you're just content with not caring about what rewards you get each season, you're just taking tiles and having fun, you'll enjoy it that way too. But if you really want to get into the big battles and stuff, you're going to probably want to be in a fellowship, a group over time. And just never be upset if another big group wipes you out. That's just how it goes. It can be a little frustrating. I've been there several times in the past. So don't get too invested. Enjoy, have fun. Don't get too invested. If you're going to get invested, join I would say a big fellowship, and that are good with politics. Don't make people angry, like I talked about at the beginning of this video. That's why I love my group. The leadership are really nice. They work really good with everyone else. All the fellowships this season were really, really nice. Super awesome. Again, like I said, all things Middle Earth groups were awesome this season. They were super fun to battle with, very honorable opponents, including pretty much everybody on the server. There wasn't anyone that, there's always occasional guy in all chat somewhere in one of the fellowships or factions. Just ignore that one guy. It's never the leadership or the groups. Someone's always just being a little bit silly or something. They like banter kind of thing. Or maybe they're just being jerks. Who knows? But yeah, anyway, I think I covered kind of what I wanted to talk about here. It's been 30 minutes. I'm going to keep it there so I don't go too crazy. Have a great and wonderful day in Middle Earth, guys. I will bring you more Rise to War guides and stuff like that. So don't forget to like, subscribe, all that jazz. I know this was just kind of a talking video. Thought I'd let you know kind of where I'm at in my season here. And I will see you guys all in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. Buru Kazad, Kuzad menu. Stay happy, my friends. Subscribe button's right there. Next episode's over there. And over there is a LOTR, probably tale, where I do voiceovers in Lord of the Rings Online. Because that game's awesome. And I love it. And that's why I do voiceovers there. Alright, stay happy, my friends. I'll see you in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. And again, this has been a very fun season, though. I will say, if you're like, well, Zollin, what's your negative to positive ratio? Well, I would be like 8 to 10. I mean, like 8 positive 2 negative. Right? Does that make sense? That did not make sense how I said that. Out of a 10, how much of that is negative? Maybe 2 out of the 10. 8 out of the 10 is positive. Like, I've really had fun this season. The updates have actually been fun. The new land updates really made 2.0 a lot better for me. There's definitely some balancing needs to happen. There's definitely stuff to make it easier from leveling to 40 to 50 with your characters. Those kind of things really need to kind of come into place. But besides that, super fun. I've had a blast. I've actually really liked the updates. They've grown on me. I do miss some stuff in 1.0, absolutely, and things like that. And there are some stuff I don't like about 2.0. That's true. But again, I'm more of a glass half full kind of guy. And you know me, I usually just give my honest opinion, and I'll tell you the goods, the bads, and the ugly. Wait, no, that's an old cowboy show. No, it's not the exact name, but you get the joke. All right, guys. Anyway, stay happy, and I'll see you in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. Barukazad, Kuzad, I menu.